Chapter 1. The Boy in the Shadows. Elara stood in front of the old iron gates with her suitcase in hand, staring at the house that didn't feel like home. Not yet. Maybe never. It's just for a few months. Her mother had said, fresh air, a fresh start. But fresh things didn't groan, and they didn't whisper. The town of Velridge was small, the kind where everyone knew each other, and outsiders were noticed fast, and someone had already noticed her. She felt it before she saw him, a shadow standing at the edge of the street. Still, watching, he didn't move, even when their eyes met. A boy, maybe 18, dark hoodie, hood up, hands in pockets. His stare wasn't angry, it was calm, and that was worse. It told her, "You don't belong here." Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number read, "You shouldn't have come here, Elara." Her heart skipped. What she looked up, the boy was gone. The next day, the rain had stopped, but the clouds still hung in the sky, like it was deep in thought. Alara stood at the school gates, her hoodie up and her heart unsure. Velridge High looked nicer than she expected. White bricks, clean windows, a perfect looking tree in the center. But no one looked at her like the boy from the street had. Not yet. She went straight to her locker. As she opened it, she froze. A note was tucked between her books. Some people move to forget, others move to disappear. Which one are you, Elara? No name, no familiar writing, just that question. Hey! A voice said beside her. She flinched and quickly hid the note. A boy stood there, tall, soft, brown hair that curled slightly at the front, and storm gray eyes. His uniform was neat, and his smile was gentle. First day? He asked. Elara nodded. I'm Kyle, he said. You're in my class. His voice was calm and kind, but something behind his eyes didn't match his smile, like he knew something he wasn't saying. Don't mind the weird stuff, he added. This town likes to scare new people. Is that what this is? She asked, showing him the note. Kyle's smile vanished for just a moment. Where did you find that? He asked. My locker, she said. He looked around, then leaned in and whispered, If he is watching you, don't answer anything. Kyle walked her to class like they were already friends. The classroom buzzed with whispers and chatter. People glanced at her. New girl, new gossip. One girl leaned to her friend and whispered, Did you hear? Someone saw him again. Zane! The name hit the air like thunder. Alara froze. The friend rolled her eye. He's just a story. He's not. My cousin saw him near the woods. Said he was bleeding. The teacher answered before more could be said. But Alara couldn't focus. At lunch, Carl sat with her again. How's Velvet so far? He asked. Weird, she said. Everyone's talking about Zane. Kyle's jaws tightened slightly. Ignore it, just stories. And the note? She asked. Like I said, the town likes to scare people. But it didn't sound like he meant it. It sounded more like he was trying to protect her. After school, she walked home under heavy skies. She was 2 streets away when she saw him, under a street lamp. A tall boy with sharp features and messy black hair that fell into his eyes. His hoodie was up. He didn't move, didn't blink, didn't smile. Then he held something up, her earring. She touched her ear. It was gone. He tossed it. It landed at her feet. She looked up. He was gone again. That night, Alara couldn't sleep. Rain tapped at the window like it had something to say. She couldn't stop thinking about the earring. How did he get it? How long had he been watching? She lay down and slowly drifted off. She was in the woods. The sky above was red, like fire behind clouds. The trees looked angry. She turned and saw Zane. He didn't speak. He just looked at her like he already knew her. What do you want? She asked. He stepped closer. This time his eyes looked tired, not cold. You're not safe here, he said. She tried to run. The forest wouldn't let her. Zin disappeared. She woke up with a jolt. Sweat covered her forehead. The dream had felt real. She sat up and froze. Her earring was on the table beside her bed. She hadn't brought it inside. The next morning felt heavy. She looked at the earring again, still there, still shining. She didn't tell her mom. At school, she went to her locker, afraid of another note, but this time it wasn't a note. It was a photo. Her heart dropped. It was a picture of her, taken from behind while walking home. Blurry, but clear enough to know someone had been watching. On the back, "You look lost. Are you okay?" Carl asked gently from behind her. She turned fast. "Someone left a picture," she said. He took it, his hands tensed. "This wasn't supposed to happen." "What do you mean?" she asked. Carl looked serious now. "Just stay close to me, okay?" But Alara was already looking past him through the window, across the schoolyard. It was Zane, standing by the tree, hoodie up, eyes only on her, just like in the dream. She stayed quiet the whole day, even when Kyle tried to make her laugh. Even when the sun came out, her mind stayed on the photo in her pocket. After school, Kyle waited by the gate. "I will walk you home," he offered. As they walked, he said, "This town isn't like other places." "Why?" Ella asked. He paused. "Some things happen here, things people don't talk about." "Like Zane," she whispered. Kyle looked ahead. "Don't say his name like that." At her door, she turned to him. "You're not telling me everything, are you?" He didn't answer, but his eyes looked sad. "Just be careful." He walked away. That night, Alara looked at the photo again. At the bottom, tiny letters glowed under light. "This isn't your first time here, Alara." Her breath stopped. She looked out the window. Zane was standing across the street, still, watching, just like before. "Why do I feel like I have been here before?" she whispered. Chapter 2. Not the first time. The next day, Alara didn't go to class. She needed space to think. So she headed to the school library. It was quiet there, filled with the soft smell of old books and forgotten pages. She found a seat in the back and picked up a dusty yearbook. Flipping through the pages, she stopped when she saw something that made her heart skip. It was a class of 2005 photo, and there she was. Same hair, same face, same small smile. Below the photo, in faded gold letters, "Alara Winter, class of 2005. Her hands trembled as she whispered, "That can't be me." Behind her, Cal stood silently. "You weren't supposed to see that," he said, his voice low. Alara stood up, confused and scared. "How am I in this picture? It's 20 years old," she asked. "Because you were here before, Alara, a long time ago," Carl replied gently. She shook her head. "But I wasn't even born." "I know," he said sadly. Suddenly, a voice came from the doorway. "You remember me now?" Elara turned to see Zane standing there. Calm eyes, hoodie up, like always. She stepped back, unsure. I don't know you." Zane pulled something from his pocket, a silver necklace with a moon and star. Elara touched her neck. "That's mine." "It always was," he answered. Carl stepped in front of her protectively. "She's not ready." "She feels it," Zane said. "She deserves to know." Alara's voice shook. "Know what?" "You lived here once," Zane said softly. "You were 18. The school, this town. It was your home." Kyle looked down until something went wrong. Zane nodded. "And now it's starting again." Before she could speak, Zane disappeared. Kyle then took her down a quiet hallway, one no one used anymore. At the end, there was a locked, boarded up door. He pulled off the wood and led her inside a dark, forgotten classroom. Dust floated in the air, the wallpaper peeled, and on the back wall, scratched deep into the paint, were the words, "Alara was here." She stared at it. "This was my classroom?" Kyle nodded. That night, Alara couldn't sleep. The necklace Zane gave her sat quietly beside her pillow. Her thoughts were spinning the dream, the photo, the message on the wall. She stood up to get some fresh air and opened her window. Down the street, standing still under the moonlight, was Zane. He didn't wave, he didn't move, he just pointed to the dark woods behind her house. Then he disappeared. That night, the dream returned. The sky was red, the trees looked angry. Cal was there, but he looked younger. Zane appeared too. The two boys stood far apart, both watching her, waiting. A soft whisper echoed through the forest. You have to choose. She woke up with a gasp. Her forehead was sweaty, her heart racing. She looked out the window. On one side of the street stood Cal, on the other, Zane, both watching, just like always. Chapter 3. The Woods Remember. Alara didn't speak to Cal all day. She wanted to, but she couldn't. That one photo, that one sentence at the bottom, "This isn't your first time here," kept echoing in her head. It didn't make her angry, it made her feel lost. Like everyone else knew the truth except her. And Zane, every time she blinked, he was there in her mind, calm, quiet, waiting. By her third glass, the room felt too small. Her heartbeat was loud, and her hands felt cold. Before she could stop herself, she stood up and walked out. She didn't know where she was going until her feet brought her to the edge of the woods. It was quiet, too quiet. The trees stood tall, like they were alive, like they remembered things no one else did. She took a slow step inside, then another. The deeper she went, the darker it got. No sun, no birds, just her footsteps on the ground. She felt it. A strange pull, like the forest wanted her to remember something. Then came the whisper, soft and close. Elara. She spun around. No one, just shadows. Her eyes landed on a tree. Something was curved into its bark. She stepped closer. Zane. The name was embossed and scratched deeply on the tree. She reached out to touch it, and a strong wind suddenly rushed through the trees. They shook behind her when a loud crack echoed. She turned quickly. Someone was standing there. But it wasn't Kyle, and it wasn't Zane. It was someone else, tall, wearing a hoodie, his face hidden. He didn't say a word. He just raised his arm and pointed behind her. She turned again, and now something else was on the tree. Another name, Alara, right under Zane. Her chest tightened. I didn't write that, she whispered. But someone knew you would find it, came a voice behind her. Zane. He was standing there, calm as ever. You need to leave these words, he said. Why do I keep finding things like this? Alara asked. What am I supposed to remember? Zane met her eyes. Come with me, I'll show you. But before she could move, she heard another voice calling her name. Elara! Kyle appeared, running through the trees. His face looked pale and tense. What are you doing here? He asked, stepping in front of her. She followed the truth, Zane replied calmly. She shouldn't be with you, Kyle snapped. Alara stood between them, her heart pounding. Both of you know something. Just tell me the truth. Zane looked at her gently. Ask him, he said, nodding towards Kyle. Kyle shook his head. Don't listen to him. But then a deep, heavy sound echoed through the woods, like a gate opening. Clang! All three turned their heads. Somewhere in the distance, something moved between the trees. Something hidden, something waiting, something that remembers. Before the storm, Alara didn't wake up to her alarm. She woke up to a knock, not at her bedroom door, but at the window. Still wrapped in her blanket, heart racing, she slowly stood up and pulled back the curtain. Cal stood outside, half shadowed by the morning mist. His hair was messy, his hand in his pocket, and his eyes carried the kind of tired that doesn't come from sleep, it comes from worry. She opened the window just a little. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice still sleepy. I couldn't stop thinking about last night. He said, "You shouldn't have been in the woods alone." Alara looked away. "I wasn't alone," she whispered. There was a long pause. Then gently he said, "Can we go for a walk? Just a short one. There's something I want to show you." Something about his voice made her nod without thinking. They walked side by side through the early morning quiet. The town of Velridge looked almost peaceful, as if nothing strange had ever happened here. But Alara knew better. Behind the clean streets and sleepy houses, this town had secrets, and somehow they were all connected to her. Kyle took her behind the school to a hidden garden. It wasn't perfect. The stone path was cracked, and the roses had grown wild, but it was beautiful in a forgotten kind of way. A stone bench sat under an old tree, dusted with fallen petals. "No one comes here anymore," Carl said. "But I used to." Alara sat down. The silence between them soft and calm for the first time in days. It felt like she could breathe. She turned to him. "You said I lived here before. Was I like this back then? Confused? Lost?" Carl smiled faintly. "You were curious, always asking questions, a little stubborn too, but you were kind. You didn't let the darkness change you." She looked at him. "Did you know me well before?" she asked. Carl nodded. "We were close." Her voice softened. "Like friends?" He hesitated. "More than that, I think." The words hung in the air between them, gentle and heavy at the same time. Alara didn't know what to say. She stared at the roses, letting the moment sink in. Her heart didn't know whether to feel something or fear something. There was comfort in Kyle's voice, but also an ache, like something had been lost before she even knew it existed. She asked quietly, "What about Zane? Was I to him too?" Kyle's expression changed. He looked away. That silence told her everything. Before she could ask more, her phone buzzed in her pocket. A message, no name, just 4 words. It begins again. "Tonight." She showed it to Kyle. His face darkened. "We need to go, now." "Go where?" she asked. "To the woods." Her heart stopped. "Again?" she whispered. "After last night?" Kyle nodded. "There's something you need to see, something hidden, something you were meant to remember." Chapter 5. The Truth Beneath. The forest didn't look the same anymore. The wind was still. The sky was quiet. It felt like everything around Alara had stopped, waiting. She stood next to Kyle, her heart racing, the message still fresh in her mind. It begins again tonight. They walked deeper into the woods. Every step felt heavier. The trees whispered like they knew her, like they remembered something she didn't. Kyle led her to a hidden path. "No one comes this way," he said quietly. "Not anymore." After a while, they reached a stone gate covered in vines. It looked ancient, like it had been forgotten for years. Kyle pushed it open slowly. Behind the gate was an old graveyard. Alara froze. Kyle pointed towards a grave near the back, a small one with a cracked stone. She stepped closer, her hands shaking. The name on the grave was Alara Winter. She gasped. "This can't be real." Kyle's voice was gentle. "That is why I brought you here." "But that's my name. I'm not dead." "No," Kyle said, "but a part of you lived before, and this was the life you had." Before she could say anything, a deep voice came from the shadows. "You weren't supposed to find out." He stepped into the moonlight. His eyes were darker than before, like the truth had already broken something inside him. His hoodie was blue, but she could see the pain in his face. "I told you to stay away from the woods," he said. "I had to know," Alara whispered. "I deserve the truth." She looked at Carl. "You showed her too soon." "She was ready," Carl replied firmly. Alara stepped between them. "Someone tell me what's happening. Why is there a grave with my name on it? Why do I remember none of this? Zane walked closer. Then, quietly, he said, because your memories were taken to protect you. Alara stared at him. Protect me from what? Zane didn't answer. Instead, he pulled something from his jacket. A photo. It was old and faded, but she saw three people in it. Kyle and Zane. We were always together, he said softly, until everything went wrong. She touched the photo with trembling fingers. You knew me. Both of you did. Zane nodded. I still do. There was silence, and in that silence, Alara felt something strange, like her heart remembered even if her mind didn't. And in that small moment, Zane's eyes softened. He took a step closer. I never stopped looking for you, he said. Her breath caught. There was something real in his voice, something broken but honest. And yet, she turned to Cal. Is it true? Cal looked away. Yes, we loved you, both of us, in different ways. Elara didn't know what to say. The truth felt heavy, but it was also clear. Something big was coming. Then, then the wind shifted. Leaves swirled around them. Zin looked towards the trees. They are coming. Cal reached for Elara's hand. Zin stepped forward, protective. But Elara didn't run. She looked at both of them. I'm ready now, she whispered, and the forest began to whisper again. Chapter 6. The Brother's Secret. The night after the forest visit felt long and heavy. Alara couldn't sleep. She sat on her bed, holding the photo Zane had given her. It felt strange seeing herself in a picture she didn't remember, standing between Zane and Kyle, all three of them younger, smiling, like a memory frozen in. Her heart felt pulled in two directions. Both boys were connected to her past, and both were keeping secrets. The next morning, the sky was pale and soft, the kind that made the whole world feel like it was holding its breath. A gentle knock came on at the door. It was Zane. For the first time, he wasn't wearing his hoodie. His dark hair was messy, and his eyes weren't cold. They looked tired, honest. Can we talk? He asked quietly. They sat in the garden Kyle had shown her earlier that week. The roses were still wild. The air felt still again. Zane sat beside her, not close, but not distant either. There's something I need to say. The full truth, he said. Alara nodded slowly. I'm listening. Zane looked down, like the words hurt to say. Then he looked back up. Kyle and I, we are brothers. Kalara's breath caught. What? She whispered. We were separated as kids, sent to different homes, different lives, but Velridge. This place brought us both back, and it brought us back to you. She didn't know what to say. Her heart was confused, but something inside her wasn't surprised. It explained the way they both seemed to know her so deeply, the way their stories felt tangled with hers. Carl doesn't know that I remember everything, Zine added. He thinks I forgot like everyone else did, but I didn't. I remember you. I remember what happened. I remember everything. Why didn't you tell Kyle? Alara asked. Zine's eyes turned softer because I needed to know if you still feel it too. If there was still a part of you that remembered me. Us? Alara looked down at her hands. It's all so much, she whispered. I know, he said gently, but Velridge is not just some town. It's like a living memory, and you're part of it. You always were. Before she could reply, a shadow moved from behind the roses. Carl stepped out. He had heard everything. His face wasn't angry, it was calm, a little sad. You're my brother, he said quietly. Zane stood. The two boys looked at each other, not shouting, not fighting, just silence. A silence full of years they have missed. I never stopped being one, Zane replied. Alara stood between them. Her heart felt like it was carrying too many emotions at once. There wasn't just two boys she had met in a strange town. These were people she had once loved, people who were somehow part of her, even if she didn't fully understand how. So what now? She asked, barely above a whisper. Kyle looked at her. Now we protect you. She nodded, and we find the truth, the real one. Above them, the clouds shifted. The wind picked up softly, far away. The woods whispered again. Alara stood between them. One boy like light, the other like shadow. And this time, she didn't feel lost. She felt ready. Chapter 7 Between the Light and the Dark. The next few days passed like a dream Alara couldn't wake up from. Nothing felt normal anymore, not the school, not the town, not even her own thoughts. Her heart was a mix of emotions, some soft, some confusing, some warm when she thought of Kyle, some sharp and mysterious when she thought of Zane. At school, people stared at her like they knew something was different. Maybe they felt the change in the air. Maybe they saw how both boys walked beside her now, quiet, calm, but always watching. One afternoon, as the sun began to set, Kyle found her sitting on the school steps. She was hugging her knees, her eyes lost in the fading sky. He sat beside her without saying anything at first, just silence, the kind that didn't feel heavy. You okay? He finally asked. I don't know, she whispered. It's like my heart is full, but I don't understand why. Cal looked at her gently. Sometimes we feel things before we remember them. She looked at him. Did I really love you before? Cal nodded slowly. I think you did. And I think maybe you still do. But you don't have to rush. I'll wait. Her heart softened the way he said it. Kind, calm, like a promise. Made something inside her ache in a good way. She gave him a small smile. Thank you, Kyle. That night, when Alara returned home, there was a note waiting on her window. Come to the old bell tower, alone. No name, but she knew who it was. She found herself walking under the moonlight. Her heart beat faster with each step. When she reached the bell tower, it stood tall and silent, like it had been waiting for her too. Inside, Zane stood in the shadows. His hoodie was down. His eyes met hers, and they weren't cold. They were deep, broken, but soft. You came, he said. You asked, she replied. He walked closer, but not too close, just enough to be near her. I needed to see you without everyone else, just us. Why? She asked. Because I remember the old you, he said. And even now, when you look at me, it's still there. I can feel it. She didn't know what to say. Her heart was beating fast again. But this time, it wasn't from fear. Zane slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out a small folded paper. This was the last letter you wrote to me before everything ended. Alara opened it with trembling fingers. It was her handwriting. Scene. If I forget everything, promise me one thing. Find me again, even if I don't know you, even if I'm afraid. Don't stop, because a part of me will always remember you, even in another life. Her hands shook, her eyes filled with tears. She didn't move. He just watched her gently. You kept this all this time? She whispered. I never stopped looking for you, he said softly, and I never stopped loving you. Lara's heart felt like it might break from the weight of those words, but it didn't. Instead, it warmed. She took a small step forward. I don't know if I remember everything, but I believe you. He gave her a soft smile, the kind that only came from someone who had been through a storm and still chose to care. Before she could say more, a sudden, loud thump echoed from upstairs. They both turned. Zane grabbed her hand. Stay behind me. They moved up the stairs together. The bell above creaked in the wind. Then silence. But Alara felt something watching. Something wasn't right. A shape moved quickly through the darkness, and in a flash, Kyle appeared in the doorway, out of breath. "They're here," he said. "We need to leave now." Jean looked at Alara. "You're not safe here anymore." Alara nodded. "Then let's fight this together." The three of them ran into the night, and somewhere deep in the woods, some things began to wake up. Chapter 8 Whispers in the Dark. The forest wasn't quiet anymore. Something moved between the trees. Fast, silent, cold. Alara stood between Zane and Cal, both of them alert, their eyes locked on the shadows ahead. The air felt heavier now, like even the moon was holding its breath. Cal gently pulled her behind him. "Stay close," he whispered. Zane stepped forward, his voice low. "They're not like before. They have changed." "They?" Alara asked. Her voice barely came out. Cal glanced at Zane. "The ones who erased your memories. The one who are scared of what you will remember." Alara's heart thudded. She took a step forward, but Zane stopped her with just a hand. Firm, protective, and warm. "You don't need to fight tonight," he said. "We do." A howl echoed through the trees. Not an animal, something worse. Cal reached into his jacket and pulled out a small silver dagger. Zane cracked his knuckles, shadows wrapping around his fists like smoke. "Ready?" Cal said. Zane didn't answer. He just smiled. Not cold, not cruel, just dangerous. But this time it wasn't for her. It was for what was coming. The first creature appeared, pale skin, long arms, hollow eyes. It hissed. Before Alara could scream, both boys were already moving fast together. Kyle moved like water, smooth and silent, every strike precise. Scene was a storm, wild, powerful, fearless. They didn't speak, but they moved like they had trained together for years, like brothers. And Alara could only watch, heart racing, hands shaking, but not from fear, from something else, from knowing they were fighting for her, from remembering she wasn't just a girl caught in a mystery. She was the reason it all started, and maybe the reason it would end. Chapter 9 A Mark Beneath the Skin. When the last creature fell, the forest went still again. The air cleared, the night felt normal, almost. Zane leaned against a tree, catching his breath. Kyle wiped the blade and tucked it away. Alara stepped towards them, still trembling. "Are you okay?" Zane looked at her and gave a small smile. Soft, real. "We have had worse." Kyle gently touched her shoulder. "You were brave." Alara shook her head. "I didn't do anything." "Yes, you did," Zane said. "You stayed." They walked back slowly, the moon above guiding them, but Elara felt something burning on her wrist. She stopped and pulled up her sleeve. A faint symbol was glowing on her skin, a circle with a star in the middle. Kyle's eyes widened. "It's starting." "What is?" Elara asked, fear creeping in. Zane walked over and traced the mark with his thumb. His touch was careful, almost too soft for someone like him. "It's the mark of the chosen," he said. "You are remembering faster than before." Alara swallowed hard. "What does it mean?" "It means they will come for you," Cal said. "Stronger next time." "But it also means," Sin added, "you're waking up. You're becoming who you were meant to be." They stood there in the quiet woods, just the three of them. Cal stepped closer. "You don't have to be afraid now, while we are here." Kyle gave a small nod. "We will protect you, always." And in that moment, between mystery and danger, between shadows and stars, Elara felt something shift, not just around her, but inside her. She looked at them both, Kyle, gentle and steady, Zane, cold and broken, but honest. And her heart whispered something she couldn't yet say out loud, but maybe soon. Chapter 10 The Mirror's Truth. Alara sat alone in the attic. The only sound was the soft ticking of the grandfather clock downstairs. The old mirror stood before her, covered in a pale sheet, like it had been hiding for years, but tonight something inside her whispered, "Look." She pulled the sheet away. The glass shimmered, and for a second she didn't see her reflection. She saw herself as a little girl crying, a woman behind her, and then darkness swallowed the image. The mirror cracked at the corner, not from outside, but from within. "Alara!" Cal's voice echoed from the stairs, soft but urgent. He entered, his shirt slightly damp from the rain, strands of wet hair falling over his forehead. She quickly turned, shaken. "Cal, it showed me something." He looked at the mirror, then at her. Without a word, he stepped forward and gently placed his hand on her shoulder. "I felt it too," he whispered. "This house, it's waking something inside you." His words didn't scare her. In fact, his presence made the chill fade away. She could feel it. Cal wasn't just protecting her, he was drawn to her. Downstairs, the door creaked. Zane entered, his black hoodie soaked. His eyes immediately found Elara. "You touched it, didn't you?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "Why does it feel like it knows me?" Zane stepped closer, not saying a word, just looking at her like he could see right through her fears. Then suddenly, a flash of pain struck through her chest. She gasped and stumbled. Both Kyle and Zane reached for her, catching her before she fell. From the mirror, a soft glow shimmered across her necklace, the silver moon and star, her mark. "Elara," Kyle breathed, staring at the light. "That's not just a necklace, is it?" She didn't answer. She didn't know how. Zane's hand brushed against hers. "Steady. You're changing, and they will come for you soon." "Who?" "The same ones who left those marks in the woods. The ones who are watching." Alara's eyes widened. "The creatures in the forest. The voices. They weren't just in my head?" "No," Zane said. "And they're closer than you think." Chapter 11. The Warning in the Woods. The sky outside Velridge hung heavy with mist, the kind that blurs the trees and makes the world keep quiet, too quiet. Ella stood in the backyard near the edge of the woods, her hoodie drawn over her head, the silver necklace, the moon and star, still glowing faintly beneath her shirt, pulsing like it had its own heartbeat. Footsteps approached. She didn't need to turn. She knew. "You shouldn't be alone right now." It was Kyle. His voice held the same quiet calm that always steadied her. "I couldn't sleep," she said. "It's like something's calling me out here." Kyle stood beside her, close enough so that she could feel the warmth of him. "It's not calling you," he said softly. "It's warning you." A rustle in the woods made them both look. Trees swayed, but no wind. "Did you see that?" Alara whispered. Kyle stepped in front of her, protective, instinctive. "Stay behind me." Just then, Zane appeared from the shadows, quiet as always, but this time his jaw was clenched. "They're getting bolder. They know she's waking up." "What are they?" Alara asked, her voice shaking. "Why me?" Zane looked at her. "Because you're not just in Velridge, Alara. You're from it." Alara's breath caught. "What?" "You don't remember yet, but you will. That necklace is more than a mark. It's a seal. Something someone placed on you to hide your past." Kyle glanced at Zane. "She's not ready for the full truth." "But she has a right to know," Zane shot back. The tension between the brothers pulled heavy in the air. Not anger, but worry for her. Alara looked between them. "Please, I need to know everything." Kyle finally spoke, gentler now. "The creatures, they were once human, but cursed. They guard the runes deeper in the woods. That mirror, it's connected to them, to you." Before Alara could respond, a cold gust whipped through the trees. Leaves spiraled, and then a figure, a tall, cloaked one, standing just at the tree line, not moving, just watching. Zane stepped forward. "Get back," he told her firmly. Kyle moved in front of her, hand brushing hers for just a second, warm, grounding. No matter what happens, stay behind us. The figure tilted its head slowly, then disappeared into smoke. Alara clutched her chest, her heart racing. What was that? Another warning, Zane whispered, and it won't be the last. Back inside, the three of them sat by the fireplace. The flames crackled. Alara sat between the boys, wrapped in a blanket, her hands still trembling. Kyle gently placed a mug of cocoa in front of her. Drink, you'll feel better. Zane didn't speak much, just watched the window, like he was listening to the night. Alara looked at both of them. Kyle, the warmth she didn't knew she needed. Zane, the cold that strangely made her feel safe. And for the first time, she didn't feel alone. She felt protected by the two boys she barely knew, but somehow it felt like she had known them forever. Chapter 12. The Dance Beneath the Moonlight. The full moon hung above Velridge like a silver crown, casting its glow over the school grounds. Tonight wasn't like the others. Tonight was the annual autumn night gala, a rare celebration where the students were stars instead of shadows, and music echoed louder than the town's secrets. Ella stood in front of the mirror in her room, her breath catching at her own reflection. Her dress flowed like midnight clouds, soft navy blue with silver stars sewn across the sleeves. Her hair was loose for once, and around her neck, the moon and star necklace Zane had given her glowed faintly, like it knew something magical was about to happen. She didn't expect to feel this nervous. The gym was transformed. Fairy lights hung from the ceiling. The floor was polished to shine, and soft music wrapped around the room like a spell. And then they walked in, Kyle and Zane, both in black suits, sleeve casually rolled up, collar slightly unbuttoned. Their dark hair was messy but perfect, eyes scanning until they found her and stopped. Zane smirked first, his expression soft but powerful, as if he was fighting not to stare. Kyle blinked, his jaw tightening, not in anger, but in awe. In that moment, all three of them forgot the darkness waiting outside the walls. Can I have this dance? Kyle asked as he approached her. His voice low and kind. Alara smiled. Only if you don't step on my toes. He chuckled and led her to the floor, one hand on her waist, another gently holding hers. They moved slowly, the world fading away. His touch was warm, protective. His eyes never left hers. I think, he whispered, in every lifetime I would find you again. Before her heart could reply, Zane stepped forward, offering his hand. My turn. Kyle nodded once, stepping back. Zane's dance was different. He didn't guide her gently. He moved like the music was inside him. He spun her once, his hand at the small of her back, gaze locked on hers. You look dangerous tonight, he said with a crooked smile. You should see yourself. She replied. They danced like memories, fast, close, breathless. And when the music slowed, Zane leaned in, his voice a soft whisper. I used to dream of this. For a brief moment, everything was perfect the lights, the music, the way her heart felt full with, with both boys by her side. Until the wind changed, the lights flickered, then the glass of the windows shattered. A creature stepped into the hall, taller than any they had faced. Its body its body was smoke and bones, its eyes glowing red. Screams echoed, students ran. Alara froze, but her boys didn't. Kyle was already in front of her, pulling the silver dagger from beneath his sleeve. Zane stood beside him, shadows swirling around his hands like armor. Stay back, Kyle warned, his voice sharp. Don't be afraid, Zane said without turning. We have got you. The creature lunged, but the brothers moved faster. Kyle struck first, agile and clean. Zane followed, a storm of energy and force. The room blurred. The music was gone, but Alara's heartbeat was louder than anything. The creature roared, reaching for her. Kyle drove in first. Zane wrapped his arms around her, shielding her. as the monster disappeared in a blast of light, and when the dust settled, both of them turned to her at once. You okay? They asked together. Alara nodded, her heart pounding, and even though the music had faded and the fear had returned, she realized one thing: as long as they were with her, Kyle and sane, she wasn't afraid of anything. Not the creatures, not the shadows, not even the truth waiting ahead. Chapter 13. The Night They Chose Her. The night wrapped Velridge in eerie silence. Stars shimmered above, but the air felt heavy, like something was about to break. Elara stood in the school's back garden, her navy blue with silver stars dress glowing softly under the moonlight. The party lights inside had gone dark minutes ago, and so had the town. Something was wrong. They both looked like danger, but to her they looked like home. Elara, Kyle said, stepping closer, stay behind us. She didn't argue, because the woods were moving. From the shadows, the same creatures from the mirror emerged. Only this time, they weren't hiding. Red eyes, sharp limbs, their growls vibrated the ground beneath her heels. Zine cracked his knuckles, smirking. Told you they would come. You always have to be right, Kyle muttered, raising his glowing hands. But before they attacked, Zine turned to his brother. No matter what happens, we protect her. Together. Kyle nodded. Always. Clara watched as the two moved like warriors, like brothers born to fight side by side. Zane moved fast and sharp, throwing a creature to the ground with a single strike. Kyle's power exploded in golden rays, lighting up the dark like a second moon. Elara, Kyle called. The mark, it's glowing! She looked down. Her necklace, the moon and the star, was pulsing like a heartbeat. Suddenly, a roar louder than the rest echoed. A shadow, larger than the others, stepped forward. Taller, smarter, more dangerous. Elara, behind me! Zine shouted, arms out. No, she said, stepping forward. I'm not weak anymore. The power inside her sparked. Her eyes lit silver, and then, boom! A blast of energy exploded from her, knocking the beasts backward. Even Kyle and Zane stumbled. She wasn't just glowing, she was awakening. The final creature launched. Both brothers moved at once, one grabbing her hand, the other stepping in front of her. Kyle shouted, She's not yours! Zane growled, She never was. Together, they hit the creature with a force so powerful that the ground cracked. Then silence. Only the soft sound of Elara breathing. It was over. Cal turned, bruised and panting. You okay? Zane looked at her too, eyes softer now. You are stronger than we thought. Elara smiled faintly. No, I'm just not alone anymore. The three of them stood there, Kyle and Zane, still on each side, hands glowing faintly, their hearts beating the same quiet rhythm as hers. But deep in the woods, two red eyes still watched. The woods were quiet now, the wind had stopped screaming, and the darkness had settled like a blanket, calm but watchful. Elara sat on a fallen log near the edge of the clearing. Her navy blue gown was torn at the sleeve, her breathing still shaky, but she was alive because of them. Kyle sat on her right, his black shirt unbuttoned at the collar, sleeves rolled up, arms stretched, scratched from the fight. His knuckles were bruised, but his eyes, soft and warm, never left her. Sean stood nearby, dressed in the black suit, sleeves rolled up, dark hair slightly messy, his silver chain blending under the moonlight. The way he carried himself, strong, calm, and quietly fierce. For the first time, he looked truly at peace. Ella whispered, Why do I feel safe with you both? Kyle leaned closer, brushing dirt from her cheek. Because you're not alone anymore. Zane finally stepped forward, kneeling in front of her. We were meant to find you, Elara. You're not just part of the story, you're the reason it started. She looked between them, one hand held by Kyle, the other taken gently by Zane. I don't know where this is going, she whispered. We do, Kyle said. We will face it together. Zane nodded, and for that moment, with the stars above them and the darkness behind them, Alara smiled. A real smile, a whisper echoed in the wood. She's waking, and so are we. The storm may have passed, but the darkness is only just beginning. To be continued.